What if your thoughts were the blueprint of your reality? This audiobook uncovers the hidden power of your mind, how beliefs shape success, and how you can rewire your brain for limitless potential. The life you desire isn't a dream, it's a mindset shift away. Are you ready? Introduction. Imagine waking up every morning with absolute certainty that your dreams are not just possibilities, but inevitabilities. Picture a reality where fear no longer paralyzes you, where obstacles are nothing more than stepping stones, and where success is not something you chase, it's something you attract. Now ask yourself, what if the only thing standing between you and that life is the way you think? This isn't just another self-help book. This is a manifesto for transformation, a step-by-step guide to rewiring your mind, dismantling the subconscious barriers that have held you back, and unlocking a level of success, confidence, and clarity that most people never experience. Why? Because mindset is everything. Pause for a moment. Think about your current reality, the way you wake up, the way you react to challenges, the way you handle money, relationships, opportunities. None of these are random. They are the direct result of the beliefs you hold. Beliefs that were shaped by your past, reinforced by your habits, and programmed into your subconscious mind. And here's the truth most people never realize. If you don't take control of your mindset, someone else will. The world around you is designed to condition your thoughts. From the moment you were born, you've been subtly programmed by society, by education, by media, to fit into a predetermined mold. You've been told who you are, what you can achieve, and what is possible for you. But what if those limitations were never real? What if you could rewrite your own mental script, breaking free from the invisible chains that have held you back? This book is your blueprint to do exactly that. It will shatter old paradigms, challenge deeply ingrained assumptions, and introduce you to the irrefutable truth that success, wealth, confidence, and fulfillment are not reserved for the lucky few. They are available to anyone who understands the power of their mind, including you. How your beliefs shape your reality. Here's a secret that the most successful people in the world understand. Your mind is a magnet. The thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, and the emotions you repeat are constantly shaping your reality. If you believe deep down that you are not worthy of success, you will subconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you believe wealth is hard to attain, you will make financial decisions that keep you struggling. If you believe confidence is something you either have or don't, you will remain stuck in self-doubt. But what happens when you change your beliefs? Your reality changes with them. Science backs this up. Neuroscience confirms that the brain is malleable. It can be reprogrammed, rewired, and reshaped to create new patterns of thinking, acting, and perceiving the world. This means you are not stuck. Your current struggles, fears, and limitations are not permanent. They are nothing more than programmed responses, ones you have the power to rewrite. This book will show you how to do exactly that. What you can expect from this audiobook. This is not about surface-level motivation. This is about deep, transformational mindset shifts that create real, measurable change. Here's what you'll gain. The science of mindset mastery. Understand how your brain works and how you can rewire it for unstoppable success. The psychology of belief. Identify and eliminate the subconscious beliefs that have secretly been holding you back. The power of identity. Discover how to reshape the way you see yourself, so success becomes effortless. Practical exercises for real change. Step-by-step techniques to reprogram your mind, build unshakable confidence, and manifest the life you truly desire. How to break free from fear and self-doubt. Master the inner dialogue that determines whether you take action or stay stuck. The manifestation mindset. Learn the truth about attracting opportunities, success, and abundance into your life. This is not just about listening. This is about transformation. Each chapter is designed to shift your thinking, challenge your old paradigms, and replace them with new, powerful beliefs that will reshape your future. But here's the catch: only if you take action. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. You can continue with the same patterns, letting life happen to you. Or you can make a decision, a real decision, to take control of your mindset and design the life you were meant to live. Are you ready? Because once you start this journey, there is no going back. Chapter 1: The Foundation of Belief. Beliefs shape the architecture of our reality, molding how we perceive the world, interpret events, and respond to life's challenges. They are the invisible forces that govern our thoughts, emotions, and actions, often without us realizing their profound influence. A belief is more than just a passing thought or an idea. It is an internalized conviction, a lens through which every experience is filtered. It determines not only what we think is possible, but also what we unconsciously accept as inevitable. Beliefs influence the goals we set, the risks we take, and the limits we impose on ourselves. They dictate whether we see failure as a learning opportunity or a reason to quit, whether we approach new experiences with curiosity or fear, and whether we trust in our ability to shape our future or resign ourselves to fate. While many people assume their beliefs are based purely on facts and reason, the truth is far more complex. Beliefs are constructed from a mix of personal experiences, societal conditioning, cultural norms, and subconscious programming, often forming long before we are even aware of them. To change our mindset and transform our lives, we must first understand how beliefs are formed, how they shape our reality, and how they can be intentionally reprogrammed to serve us rather than limit us. What is a belief and how is it formed? A belief is a mental representation of reality that we accept as true, regardless of whether it is actually factual. It is an interpretation of the world that our mind has solidified through repetition, reinforcement, and emotional significance. Beliefs do not emerge in isolation. They are built over time, piece by piece, shaped by the experiences we have, the lessons we are taught, and the messages we absorb from the world around us. From childhood, we begin forming beliefs based on the way our caregivers respond to us, the way teachers and peers treat us, and the way society labels us. These early experiences create a blueprint for how we see ourselves and our potential. If a child is constantly told they are smart and capable, they are likely to develop a belief in their intelligence and competence. Conversely, if a child is repeatedly criticized or discouraged, they may internalize a belief in their inadequacy, even if they are just as capable as another child with a more supportive environment. Beliefs are reinforced through repetition. The more we encounter an idea, the more likely we are to accept it as truth. This is why cultural norms and societal expectations hold such power. They are reinforced daily through media, traditions, and shared narratives. If a society values entrepreneurship, individuals within it are more likely to develop beliefs that success comes from risk-taking and innovation. If a culture emphasizes security and stability, its members may adopt beliefs that discourage deviation from traditional career paths. Over time, these beliefs become so deeply embedded in our psyche that we rarely question them. They become automatic, influencing our thoughts and decisions without conscious awareness. The mind prefers consistency, and once a belief takes root, the brain actively seeks out information that supports it while ignoring or dismissing contradictory evidence. This is known as confirmation bias, a cognitive tendency to reinforce pre-existing beliefs rather than objectively analyze new information. The role of experience and environment in shaping beliefs. While some beliefs develop through direct experience, others are inherited from our environment. Family, culture, education, religion, and media all play significant roles in shaping the belief systems we carry into adulthood. As children, we absorb the beliefs of those around us, often without questioning their validity. If a parent constantly warns a child about the dangers of financial instability, that child may develop a deep-seated fear of taking financial risks, even if they later achieve stability and success. Similarly, if a child is raised in an environment that prioritizes academic excellence, they may internalize the belief that intelligence is the key to success, shaping their self-worth and life choices accordingly. Beyond family influence, societal structures reinforce collective beliefs that shape individual mindsets. Schools instill beliefs about intelligence and achievement through grading systems and standardized tests, often unintentionally teaching students that their worth is tied to their academic performance. Religious institutions shape moral and ethical beliefs, guiding how individuals perceive right and wrong. Media and entertainment create perceptions of beauty, success, and happiness, influencing what people strive for and how they measure their own lives. Even the language we use reflects and reinforces beliefs. Phrases like, "money doesn't grow on trees," instill scarcity mindsets, while sayings like, "hard work always pays off," reinforce beliefs in meritocracy. These external influences embed themselves into our subconscious, becoming the unchallenged truths that guide our lives. Recognizing the impact of our environment on our beliefs is the first step toward reclaiming our ability to shape our own mindset. When we realize that many of our limitations are not inherent truths, but learned perceptions, we gain the power to question them. We can ask ourselves, is this belief truly mine, or was it given to me? Does this belief serve me, or does it hold me back? By becoming conscious of the origins of our beliefs, we create the opportunity to rewrite them, replacing limiting narratives with empowering ones. The difference between conscious and subconscious beliefs. Not all beliefs operate at the level of conscious awareness. While we are fully aware of some beliefs, such as our stance on politics or religion, many of our most influential beliefs exist beneath the surface, buried deep within the subconscious mind. These subconscious beliefs operate automatically, shaping our decisions, emotions, and behaviors without us realizing it. A person may consciously desire success, but subconsciously believe they are undeserving of wealth, leading them to unknowingly sabotage opportunities. Someone may consciously want a healthy relationship, but subconsciously believe they are unworthy of love, causing them to push others away. These hidden beliefs are often the hardest to change because they are deeply ingrained and reinforced by years of unconscious reinforcement. Subconscious beliefs are primarily formed in early childhood, when the mind is most impressionable. During this period, the brain absorbs information without critical analysis, accepting what it is told as fact. If a child repeatedly hears statements like, "you're not good at math," or "you'll never be an athlete," these messages become internalized truths, shaping the way they see themselves for years to come. Even as adults, these childhood beliefs continue to influence behavior, often in ways we do not recognize. This is why people who struggle with self-worth often trace their insecurities back to childhood experiences. The subconscious mind holds onto these beliefs because they provide a sense of consistency and predictability even if they are harmful. Changing subconscious beliefs requires deliberate effort and repetition. Techniques such as affirmations, visualization, hypnotherapy, and cognitive reprogramming can help rewrite the mental scripts that dictate our lives. By consistently exposing the subconscious mind to new empowering beliefs, we can begin to overwrite old programming and replace it with narratives that align with our desired reality. However, this process requires patience and persistence. The brain resists change, preferring the familiarity of old patterns, even when they are detrimental. Overcoming this resistance requires conscious effort, actively questioning limiting beliefs, replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations, and surrounding ourselves with influences that reinforce our new mindset. How beliefs influence emotions actions, and outcomes. Beliefs are not passive thoughts. They are active forces that shape our emotions, actions, and ultimately, our reality. A belief in one's abilities fosters confidence, leading to bold actions and greater success. Conversely, a belief in one's inadequacy breeds hesitation, fear, and missed opportunities. This self-fulfilling prophecy is evident in all areas of life. Those who believe in their potential are more likely to take risks, persevere through challenges, and ultimately achieve their goals, while those who doubt themselves often shy away from opportunities and settle for less than they are capable of. By consciously reshaping our beliefs, we gain control over our destiny, transforming our mindset from one of limitation to one of boundless possibility. Chapter 2. The Power of Thought and Perception. Thoughts are the seeds from which beliefs grow, shaping the way we interpret reality, respond to challenges, and create the life we live. Every action, every emotion, and every decision is preceded by a thought, whether conscious or subconscious. Our minds are constantly processing information, drawing from past experiences, societal influences, and internalized narratives to form perceptions that define what we believe is possible. But what if these perceptions are not reflections of objective truth, but rather interpretations shaped by our mental conditioning? The truth is, the way we think influences not just our personal experiences, but the very reality we inhabit. Thought is the foundation of mindset, and mindset is the foundation of action. When we begin to understand the power of thought, how it shapes perception, directs focus, and dictates emotional responses, we gain the ability to consciously reshape our reality. How thoughts shape perception. The mind does not experience reality as it is. It experiences reality as it interprets it. Two people can witness the same event and walk away with completely different understandings based on the thoughts that filter their perception. Imagine two individuals standing before a mountain. One sees a daunting, insurmountable challenge, while the other sees an exciting opportunity for adventure and growth. The mountain itself remains unchanged, but their experiences of it differ entirely. This phenomenon is at the core of human perception. Thoughts act as filters that color the way we see the world. A person who has been conditioned to believe that failure is shameful will perceive every setback as a confirmation of their inadequacy, while someone who believes failure is a stepping stone to success will see setbacks as valuable lessons. This is why two people with the same level of talent, intelligence, and resources can achieve vastly different outcomes. The difference lies not in external circumstances, but in the way they interpret their circumstances. A job loss can be seen as a devastating blow or as a chance for reinvention. A rejection can be perceived as proof of unworthiness or as redirection towards something better. The same event, filtered through different thoughts, produces entirely different emotional responses and, consequently, different actions. This is the essence of perception. Reality is not merely what happens, but how we choose to see what happens. And since thoughts govern perception, by changing the way we think, we can fundamentally alter our experience of the world. The reticular activating system, the mind's focus mechanism. The brain is bombarded with millions of pieces of sensory information every second, yet we can only consciously process a fraction of it. The mechanism that determines what information we focus on and what we filter out is called the reticular activating system, ERAS, a network of neurons in the brainstem responsible for directing attention. The RAS functions like a mental gatekeeper, highlighting information that aligns with our dominant thoughts and beliefs while disregarding everything else. If you have ever decided to buy a specific car and then suddenly started noticing that car everywhere, that is the RAS at work. The cars were always there, but your brain now prioritizes seeing them because your thoughts have programmed it to do so. This same mechanism applies to all areas of life. If you believe that opportunities are scarce, Your brain will filter reality in a way that confirms this belief. You will overlook potential openings, dismiss possibilities, and focus only on obstacles. If you believe that the world is full of opportunities, your brain will tune into possibilities that were always there but previously unseen. The EROS ensures that we perceive more of what we focus on. This is why successful people often seem to attract opportunities. They have trained their minds to notice and act upon them. Likewise, those who expect failure, rejection, or disappointment will find evidence to confirm their expectations, reinforcing the cycle of limitation. Understanding the RAS is key to mastering mindset. When we consciously direct our thoughts toward what we want rather than what we fear, we program our brains to seek solutions, recognize possibilities, and focus on growth. This is why vision boards, affirmations, and goal-setting exercises are effective. They align our dominant thoughts with our desired reality, instructing the RAS to filter the world accordingly. By deliberately choosing the thoughts we focus on, we can reshape our perception and, ultimately, the reality we experience. The thought-emotion connection. How thoughts generate feelings. Thoughts do not exist in isolation. They trigger emotional responses that influence our actions and behaviors. Every emotion we feel, joy, fear, anger, gratitude, is the result of a preceding thought, even if we are unaware of it. The mind interprets an event, assigns meaning to it, and generates an emotional response based on that interpretation. If someone receives constructive criticism and thinks, "This is an opportunity to improve," they will feel motivated and receptive. If they think, "I am being judged and criticized," they will feel defensive and discouraged. The external event remains the same, but the emotional reaction is determined entirely by thought. This is why shifting our thoughts is the most powerful way to regulate emotions. People often believe their emotions are automatic and uncontrollable, but in reality, emotions are simply the body's reaction to thoughts. By changing the thought, we change the emotional response. This is the foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy, which teaches individuals to identify and challenge negative thought patterns in order to alter their emotional and behavioral responses. When we become conscious of the thoughts that trigger our emotions, we gain the power to reframe them, leading to a more positive and resilient mindset. The implications of this are profound. If thoughts determine emotions and emotions influence actions, then by mastering our thoughts, we can change not only how we feel, but also how we behave and the results we create in life. An individual who constantly thinks, "I am not good enough," will experience feelings of self-doubt, leading to avoidance of challenges and opportunities, which ultimately reinforces the belief in inadequacy. However, if they replace that thought with, "I am capable of growth and learning," they will feel motivated, take more action, and build confidence over time. This shift in thought initiates a new cycle, one that fosters empowerment instead of limitation. Reprogramming thought patterns for success. Since thoughts shape perception, influence emotions, and direct focus, the key to transforming mindset lies in reprogramming habitual thought patterns. This requires intentional effort, as the brain prefers familiarity and will resist change at first. However, just as negative thought patterns are formed through repetition, positive thought patterns can be installed the same way. The first step is self-awareness, identifying the recurring thoughts that govern our perceptions and responses. Journaling, mindfulness, and introspection are powerful tools for recognizing patterns that may be holding us back. Once limiting thoughts are identified, they must be actively replaced with empowering alternatives. Affirmations, visualization, and deliberate reframing are effective methods for reshaping thought patterns. Instead of thinking, "I always fail," one can consciously replace that thought with, "Every setback is a lesson that brings me closer to success." Instead of, "I am not good enough," one can affirm, I am constantly growing and improving. By repeatedly reinforcing these new thoughts, the brain rewires itself, gradually making them the default responses. The final step in thought transformation is consistency. The brain thrives on repetition, and the more a thought is reinforced, the stronger the neural connections supporting it become. Over time, what begins as an intentional effort becomes second nature. New beliefs take root, new perceptions emerge, and a new reality unfolds. Mastering thought is mastering life. When we realize that reality is shaped not by what happens to us, but by how we think about what happens, we unlock the ability to reshape our experiences from the inside out. The mind is not merely a passive observer of the world. It is an active creator of reality. And by choosing our thoughts wisely, we can create a reality that aligns with our highest potential. Chapter 3. The subconscious mind and its hidden influence. Beneath the surface of every conscious thought, decision, and behavior lies a vast and powerful force that governs much of our existence, the subconscious mind. Unlike the conscious mind, which is deliberate and analytical, the subconscious mind operates automatically, processing vast amounts of information without requiring active attention. It is the domain of deep-seated beliefs, emotional responses, and habitual behaviors. An unseen architect shaping the course of our lives with silent authority. While we may believe that our actions and choices are the result of conscious reasoning, in reality, they are largely dictated by subconscious programming that has been installed over the course of our lives, from childhood experiences to cultural conditioning, from repeated thoughts to unexamined narratives. The subconscious mind stores and reinforces the patterns that define who we believe we are and what we assume is possible. To truly master our mindset, we must first understand how the subconscious mind operates, how it influences our reality, and how it can be intentionally reprogrammed to align with our highest potential. The hidden power of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind acts as a vast repository of information, absorbing and storing every experience, emotion, and belief we encounter. It does not differentiate between reality and perception. It simply records and reinforces whatever it is repeatedly exposed to. This is why childhood experiences leave such a lasting impact. Before the age of 7, the brain operates primarily in theta brainwave states, making it highly impressionable. During this stage of life, we absorb information without critical analysis, accepting what we are told as absolute truth. If a child repeatedly hears that they are not good enough, too shy, or not smart, these messages become embedded in the subconscious, forming the foundation of their self-image. Conversely, if they are encouraged, supported, and exposed to beliefs of confidence and possibility, these patterns take root instead. As we grow older, these subconscious programs continue to dictate our responses, shaping our behavior without us realizing their influence. When we encounter challenges, our subconscious draws upon past programming to determine how we react, whether we face obstacles with resilience or succumb to self-doubt. The power of the subconscious mind lies in its ability to influence not just our thoughts, but also our physiology and emotions. Studies have shown that subconscious beliefs affect everything from stress levels to immune function. A person who subconsciously believes they are unworthy of success may experience chronic self-sabotage, while someone who has deeply ingrained beliefs in abundance and confidence may naturally attract opportunities. This occurs because the subconscious mind governs our habitual responses, influencing the way we carry ourselves, the risks we take, and even the signals we send to others. The subconscious is not bound by logic or reason. It simply follows the scripts it has been given. If we tell ourselves we are incapable, the subconscious will find ways to validate that belief. If we tell ourselves we are limitless, it will seek out evidence to support that reality. The subconscious mind is a powerful ally or a formidable adversary, depending on the programming it has received. The subconscious and habit formation. One of the most critical aspects of the subconscious mind is its connection to habit formation. Every action we take repeatedly becomes ingrained as a habit, whether positive or negative. This is why habits can feel automatic. Once a behavior has been reinforced enough times, the subconscious takes over, eliminating the need for conscious effort. This applies to both physical habits, such as brushing teeth or driving a car, and mental habits, such as self-doubt or confidence. If someone has spent years reinforcing thoughts of inadequacy, those thoughts will become the subconscious default response. However, just as negative habits can be installed, positive ones can be cultivated. By consciously choosing new patterns and repeating them consistently, we can train the subconscious mind to adopt empowering beliefs and automatic responses that support our growth. Breaking old habits requires disrupting subconscious patterns and replacing them with new intentional behaviors. This is why willpower alone often fails, because it relies on conscious effort, which is limited. Instead, true transformation occurs when we repeatedly expose the subconscious mind to new behaviors until they become automatic. Consistency is key in this process, whether it is developing a morning routine, reinforcing empowering self-talk, or eliminating negative thought patterns. The goal is to train the subconscious to adopt the new behavior as its default mode of operation. The role of visualization in subconscious reprogramming. Reprogramming the subconscious mind requires deliberate effort, repetition, and emotional engagement. The most effective methods for subconscious transformation involve techniques that bypass the critical faculties of the conscious mind and communicate directly with the deeper levels of awareness. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for this process. By vividly imagining desired outcomes with emotional intensity, the subconscious begins to accept these imagined realities as truth. This is why elite athletes, performers, and successful individuals often practice mental rehearsal. By repeatedly visualizing success, they train their subconscious to align with that reality, increasing the likelihood of achieving it. When visualizing, it is crucial to engage all senses. Instead of merely picturing success, one should feel the emotions associated with it, hear the sounds, and immerse themselves fully in the experience. The subconscious does not differentiate between real and imagined experiences, meaning that a well-practiced visualization can be as powerful as an actual event. By consistently reinforcing positive imagery, we create new subconscious associations that support success. Affirmations and the language of the subconscious. Affirmations also play a crucial role in subconscious reprogramming. Repeatedly stating positive present tense affirmations reinforces new beliefs, gradually replacing limiting narratives with empowering ones. However, affirmations must be paired with emotional conviction. Simply reciting words without feeling will not create lasting change. The subconscious responds to emotion, so the more deeply we feel and believe in the affirmations we repeat, the more effectively they become ingrained. For affirmations to be effective, they must be stated as if they are already true. Saying, "I am becoming confident," signals that confidence is still in the future, whereas "I am confident" affirms it as a present reality. The subconscious thrives on certainty, so affirmations should always be phrased in a way that assumes the desired state is already achieved. Additionally, repeating affirmations during moments of relaxation, such as right before sleep or immediately upon waking, enhances their effectiveness, as the brain is more receptive during these times. The impact of environment on the subconscious mind. Another crucial aspect of subconscious reprogramming is changing our environment and inputs. The subconscious absorbs whatever it is consistently exposed to, meaning that the people we surround ourselves with, the media we consume, and the conversations we engage in all play a role in shaping our mindset. If we are constantly exposed to negativity, fear, and limitation, our subconscious will absorb and reinforce those narratives. However, if we intentionally immerse ourselves in positivity, growth, and empowerment, our subconscious will begin to adopt those perspectives instead. This is why personal development books, motivational speakers, and high-achieving mentors can have such a profound impact. They provide new inputs that challenge and reshape subconscious programming. The path to subconscious mastery. Ultimately, the subconscious mind is a tool, one that can be programmed to work for us or against us. The key to mastering it lies in becoming intentional about the beliefs we install, the habits we reinforce, and the environments we expose ourselves to. When we recognize that the subconscious is not fixed, but malleable, we unlock the ability to transform any aspect of our lives from the inside out. Instead of being prisoners to past conditioning, we become the architects of our own reality, using the power of subconscious programming to align our mindset with the future we desire. Mastery of the subconscious is mastery of self. When we learn to program our minds with beliefs of strength, confidence, and possibility, we create an internal foundation that supports success in every area of life. Thought patterns that once held us back dissolve, replaced by empowering narratives that propel us forward. This is the essence of mindset transformation, not simply thinking positively for a moment, but rewiring the deepest levels of the mind to operate from a place of limitless potential. And once we gain control over the subconscious, we gain control over our destiny. Chapter 4. Breaking Mental Barriers, Overcoming the Limits of the Mind. The greatest barriers to success are not external, but internal. It is not the lack of resources, opportunity, or luck that holds most people back. It is the limitations they impose upon themselves. The mind is both a prison and a gateway, capable of confining a person within fear and self-doubt or unlocking boundless potential. Mental barriers are often invisible but powerful, rooted in past experiences, societal conditioning, and deeply ingrained beliefs. To break free from these limitations, one must first recognize them, understand their origins, and develop strategies to dismantle them. Only then can the mind be rewired to embrace growth, possibility, and achievement. The nature of mental barriers. Where do they come from? Mental barriers are the invisible walls constructed by past experiences, cultural programming, and repeated thought patterns. These barriers manifest as self-doubt, fear of failure, imposter syndrome, and limiting beliefs. They dictate what people believe they are capable of, shaping their decisions and actions. For example, a person who grew up in an environment where success was considered rare or unattainable may internalize the belief that they are destined for mediocrity. Similarly, repeated failures can create a subconscious expectation of future failure, making risk and ambition feel futile. One of the most pervasive sources of mental limitation is social conditioning. From childhood, people are taught what is possible and realistic based on the expectations of their family, teachers, and society. These beliefs become deeply ingrained, shaping perception and behavior. A person raised in an environment that discourages ambition may struggle to believe they can achieve greatness, even when opportunities are available. These inherited beliefs operate in the subconscious, influencing choices without conscious awareness. Additionally, emotional experiences play a crucial role in shaping mental barriers. Trauma, rejection, and past failures leave lasting imprints on the subconscious mind, creating avoidance patterns. If someone has experienced public embarrassment when speaking in front of an audience, they may develop a deep-seated fear of public speaking. This fear then manifests as anxiety, avoidance, and self-imposed limitations. The brain, designed to protect against pain, reinforces these barriers by triggering negative emotions whenever the person approaches a similar situation. Understanding that mental barriers are learned, not innate, is the first step toward overcoming them. They are not permanent realities, but constructed narratives that can be rewritten. The key to breaking free is to challenge these narratives, disrupt limiting patterns, and replace them with empowering beliefs. The psychology of fear. Why the mind resists. Change fear is the most significant force behind mental barriers. It is an evolutionary mechanism designed to protect from danger, but in the modern world, it often acts as a roadblock rather than a safeguard. The fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or discomfort prevents people from taking risks that could lead to growth. The brain perceives change as a potential threat, activating the amygdala, the part responsible for processing fear and anxiety. This triggers physiological responses, racing heart, tense muscles, and hesitation, designed to keep the person in their comfort zone. However, the comfort zone is also the growth-free zone. While it may feel safe, it limits potential and keeps individuals stuck in repetitive cycles. Those who achieve extraordinary success are not necessarily fearless. They have simply learned to act despite fear. They recognize that fear is often an illusion, a projection of imagined worst-case scenarios, rather than an actual threat. The mind magnifies potential risks while underestimating the rewards of stepping beyond limitations. One of the most effective ways to overcome fear is exposure therapy, gradually facing the source of fear in controlled, manageable steps. For example, someone with social anxiety may start by engaging in small conversations before working up to public speaking. By repeatedly confronting fears, the brain begins to rewire its response, reducing the anxiety associated with the situation. Over time, what once seemed terrifying becomes routine. Wiring the subconscious, replacing limiting beliefs. To dismantle mental barriers, one must actively reprogram the subconscious mind. This requires repetition, emotional intensity, and conscious effort. Limiting beliefs are deeply ingrained because they have been reinforced over time. Changing them requires intentional mental conditioning, just as physical training reshapes the body. One powerful method for subconscious reprogramming is affirmation and autosuggestion. The subconscious mind absorbs whatever it is repeatedly exposed to, whether positive or negative. By consistently reinforcing empowering beliefs, new mental pathways form, gradually replacing old limitations. However, affirmations must be more than empty words. They must be felt deeply and believed. Instead of saying, "I am successful," a person should vividly imagine their success, feel the excitement, and engage emotionally with the vision. This strengthens the new belief, making it more effective. Visualization is another potent tool. The brain does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. By mentally rehearsing success, confidence, and overcoming obstacles, a person can train their mind to accept these outcomes as natural. Studies on mental rehearsal show that athletes, performers, and high achievers who visualize success perform significantly better than those who rely solely on physical practice. Another crucial aspect of reprogramming is challenging negative self-talk. Most mental barriers stem from a destructive inner dialogue that reinforces self-doubt. By practicing cognitive reframing, individuals can intercept negative thoughts and replace them with empowering alternatives. Instead of thinking, "I always fail," a person can shift their perspective to, "Every failure is a lesson that brings me closer to success." This shift in language rewires the brain to perceive challenges as opportunities rather than threats. Building a growth mindset, embracing challenge and failure. A fixed mindset sees abilities, intelligence, and potential as static, leading to fear of failure and avoidance of challenge. A growth mindset, on the other hand, views abilities as expandable through effort and learning. Those with a growth mindset embrace failure as a stepping stone, persist despite setbacks, and see challenges as opportunities to improve. Developing a growth mindset requires deliberate practice and resilience. When faced with adversity, instead of retreating into fear, successful individuals ask, What can I learn from this? This simple shift transforms obstacles into lessons, making failure less intimidating. The most successful people in history, whether entrepreneurs, artists, or athletes, have failed repeatedly. What sets them apart is their refusal to let failure define them. The path to breaking mental barriers is not about eliminating difficulty, but about changing the way the mind interprets it. By embracing discomfort, seeking continuous improvement, and maintaining a long-term vision, individuals build mental resilience. Over time, the challenges that once seemed overwhelming become stepping stones toward mastery. Reconstructing identity, becoming who you believe you can be. At the core of mental transformation is identity shift. People act in alignment with who they believe they are. If someone sees themselves as weak, incapable, or destined for failure, they will subconsciously make choices that validate that identity. However, if they reconstruct their self-image to reflect strength, resilience, and potential, their behavior naturally aligns with that vision. Identity shift requires consistency and alignment. Every action should reinforce the desired identity. If someone wants to become confident, they must practice confidence in small ways, speaking with certainty, maintaining eye contact, and making decisive choices. Over time, these actions reshape the subconscious self-concept, making confidence the new default state. Breaking mental barriers is the key to unlocking one's highest potential. The limits imposed by fear, past experiences, and self-doubt are not permanent. They are illusions that can be dismantled through conscious effort and intentional practice. By rewiring thought patterns, embracing growth, and shifting identity, individuals free themselves from the constraints that have held them back. The greatest breakthroughs come when one steps beyond comfort zones and challenges the boundaries of the mind. Those who refuse to be confined by fear, failure, or doubt become the architects of their destiny, shaping their reality according to their highest vision. The mind is limitless, and those who learn to master it discover that anything is possible. Chapter 5. The Power of Self-Image, Becoming the Person You Believe You Are. The foundation of every achievement, every failure, and every experience in life is self-image. It is the silent architect shaping behavior, confidence, and potential. People do not act according to who they wish to be. They act in alignment with who they believe they are. The mind is a powerful mechanism, constantly working to keep reality in sync with self-perception. If a person sees themselves as intelligent, capable, and worthy of success, their thoughts and actions naturally reflect that belief. Conversely, if they view themselves as inadequate, their subconscious will find ways to validate that perception, often through self-sabotage, procrastination, or avoidance of challenges. Self-image is not just a reflection of the past, but a blueprint for the future. It dictates whether a person steps forward with confidence or shrinks back in hesitation. It determines whether they see opportunities or obstacles, success or failure, growth or stagnation. The key to transforming one's life is not found in external circumstances, but in reshaping the internal perception of self. By reconstructing self-image, individuals unlock new levels of potential, breaking free from the invisible chains of doubt and limitation. How self-image is formed. The mental programming of identity. From birth, self-image is shaped by experiences, feedback, and interpretation of events. A child praised for their creativity begins to see themselves as innovative. One constantly criticized may internalize feelings of inadequacy. Every word heard, every success or failure, every label given by others becomes part of an internal narrative. Over time, this narrative solidifies into an identity, a mental framework defining what a person believes they are capable of. Psychologists have long studied the impact of self-fulfilling prophecies, the phenomenon where beliefs shape actions, ultimately confirming the original belief. A student convinced they are poor at math may subconsciously put in less effort, reinforcing their struggle. An entrepreneur who believes they lack leadership skills may avoid taking decisive action, reinforcing their doubts. In both cases, the belief creates the outcome, and the outcome strengthens the belief. This cycle continues unless consciously interrupted. Another major influence on self-image is social comparison. In an era of constant digital exposure, people compare their lives to curated highlights of others, often leading to feelings of inadequacy. The mind, designed to seek validation and belonging, can distort reality, making success seem distant and self-worth conditional. Recognizing that self-image is a construct, not an absolute truth, is the first step toward reshaping it. Identity is fluid, and just as it was created through past experiences, it can be reprogrammed through conscious effort. Breaking the illusions, recognizing and releasing false labels. One of the biggest obstacles to personal transformation is the unconscious attachment to limiting labels. People say, "I'm just not a confident person," or "I've always been bad with money," as if these traits were permanent. These statements are not facts. They are mental programs, often inherited or reinforced by repetition. The truth is, personality, abilities, and habits are all malleable. Neuroscience has proven that the brain is capable of rewiring itself through intentional thought and action. To break free from false labels, one must first identify them. This requires deep self-awareness, listening to internal dialogue, recognizing limiting beliefs, and questioning their origins. Ask, where did this belief come from? Is there evidence proving it is true? How would my life change if I no longer believed this? By challenging and dismantling limiting labels, space is created for a new self-image to emerge, one built on empowerment, possibility, and self-mastery. The role of visualization: seeing the new self before becoming it. The mind does not distinguish between real experiences and vividly imagined ones. This is why visualization is a powerful tool in shaping self-image. Olympic athletes use mental rehearsal to improve performance, seeing themselves executing perfect movements before even stepping onto the field. The brain, in response, strengthens the neural pathways required for that success. To reshape self-image, one must visualize the person they want to become with absolute clarity. This means not just seeing, but feeling, experiencing the emotions, confidence, and energy of the new identity. A person striving for confidence should close their eyes and imagine themselves walking into a room, speaking with certainty, radiating assurance. The more vividly this is practiced, the more natural it becomes. Over time, the subconscious begins aligning actions with this new identity. A powerful technique is identity scripting, writing a detailed description of the ideal self as if already real. Instead of saying, "I want to be more disciplined," the script should read, "I am highly disciplined, consistently taking action on my goals with focus and determination." The brain responds to certainty, so the more real the description, the stronger the impact. Acting as if, the fastest way to shift identity. Behavior shapes identity just as much as thoughts do. A person does not become confident by waiting for self-assurance to appear. They become confident by acting confident despite fear. The mind, through a process called cognitive dissonance, seeks to align internal beliefs with external actions. When a person repeatedly behaves in a certain way, their mind eventually adapts, reinforcing that behavior as part of their self-image. This is why adopting small but deliberate actions aligned with a desired identity is crucial. A person who wants to develop a strong work ethic should start by setting and completing small goals, proving to themselves that they are reliable. Someone aiming to be more social should initiate conversations even if uncomfortable. Each action sends a signal to the brain, reinforcing a new identity. The phrase, "fake it until you become it," is not about deception. It is about training the mind through intentional behavior. Every small victory, every moment of stepping outside the comfort zone, strengthens the foundation of a new self-image. The importance of environment, surroundings, shape identity. Self-image is not formed in isolation. The people, media, and environments one engages with constantly reinforce certain beliefs and behaviors. Those who surround themselves with negativity, doubt, or mediocrity will find it difficult to cultivate a powerful self-image. Conversely, being around individuals who embody success, confidence, and resilience naturally elevates one's own standards. This is why mentorship, books, and positive influence are vital. When exposed to stories of people who have overcome similar struggles, the subconscious begins to accept new possibilities. If someone raised in a scarcity mindset reads about self-made success stories, their brain starts to challenge the idea that wealth is unattainable. The more exposure to empowering perspectives, the easier it becomes to internalize them. To accelerate transformation, one must intentionally curate their environment, limiting exposure to negativity and increasing engagement with content, people, and experiences that reflect the identity they wish to build. Self-image is the foundation of everything in life. It is not an unchangeable trait, but a construct shaped by past experiences and reinforced through repetition. The good news is that just as it was built, it can be rebuilt. By identifying and challenging limiting beliefs, visualizing a new identity, taking aligned action, and surrounding oneself with empowering influences, transformation becomes inevitable. True change does not begin with external success. It begins within. When self-image is elevated, every aspect of life follows suit. The person who sees themselves as capable, powerful, and worthy will naturally make decisions that reflect that reality. Those who master their self-image master their destiny. The question is not whether transformation is possible. It is whether one is willing to step into the identity of their highest self and claim it. Chapter 6. Mastering Self-Discipline, the Key to Lasting Transformation. Self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments, between ambition and success. It is not talent, intelligence, or even motivation that determines long-term achievement, but the ability to act consistently, despite obstacles, distractions, and fleeting emotions. Those who master self-discipline gain control over their habits, time, and decisions, while those who lack it remain prisoners of impulse, procrastination, and short-term gratification. At its core, self-discipline is the ability to override temporary desires in favor of long-term rewards. It is the power to push forward when the mind urges retreat, to persist in discomfort, and to act with purpose rather than impulse. While many believe self-discipline is an innate trait, it is in fact a skill, one that can be developed, strengthened, and refined. Those who cultivate it unlock the highest levels of personal mastery, shaping their destiny with intention and control. The myth of motivation: why willpower alone is not enough. Most people rely on motivation to take action, but motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates based on emotions, circumstances, and external factors. A person may feel highly motivated in the morning, ready to conquer their goals, but by the evening, exhaustion and distraction take over. If motivation is the only force driving action, progress will always be inconsistent. Self-discipline, unlike motivation, does not depend on mood or inspiration. It is the ability to take action whether one feels like it or not. This is why high achievers do not wait for the perfect moment. They create routines and systems that ensure action happens regardless of internal resistance. The athlete trains even on days they feel sluggish. The writer writes even when uninspired. The entrepreneur works even when discouraged. This commitment to consistency is what separates those who succeed from those who merely dream. To break free from reliance on motivation, one must shift focus from feeling-driven action to identity-driven action. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" ask, "What would the person I want to become do right now?" The disciplined mind does not entertain excuses. It aligns action with long-term vision, regardless of fleeting emotions. The science of habit formation, automating discipline. One of the most powerful ways to develop self-discipline is by turning desired behaviors into habits. When an action becomes habitual, it no longer requires intense effort or decision-making. It becomes automatic. This is why successful individuals do not rely on constant willpower. They design their lives in a way that makes discipline effortless. Neuroscientists have identified the habit loop, a three-step process that governs behavior. 1. Cue, a trigger that initiates the habit. Example, waking up. 2. Routine, the action itself. Example, exercising. 3. Reward, the benefit or reinforcement. Example, endorphins, increased energy. To build self-discipline, one must intentionally create and reinforce positive habit loops while eliminating negative ones. This means designing the environment for success, placing workout clothes by the bed to encourage morning exercise, setting clear, small triggers, writing for just 5 minutes daily instead of aiming for an overwhelming goal, attaching rewards to disciplined actions, associating studying with a small enjoyable break afterward. By consistently reinforcing desired habits, self-discipline becomes second nature. Over time, what once required effort becomes automatic, reducing internal resistance. The power of delayed gratification, training the mind for long-term success. The ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest predictors of success. Psychologist Walter Mischel's famous marshmallow experiment demonstrated that children who resisted eating a marshmallow for a greater reward later in time achieved higher success in adulthood. This principle applies universally. Those who can sacrifice immediate pleasure for greater future gains tend to excel in every field. The modern world, however, conditions people for instant gratification. Social media, fast food, and on-demand entertainment provide immediate dopamine hits, making long-term goals seem less appealing. The disciplined individual, however, understands that true fulfillment comes from investing in the future, not indulging in the present. One way to develop delayed gratification is to reframe the way the mind perceives discipline. Instead of seeing self-control as deprivation, view it as empowerment, a choice to trade lesser rewards for greater ones. This mindset shift transforms discipline from a struggle into an act of self-respect and long-term vision. Overcoming internal resistance. How to act despite discomfort. One of the greatest challenges to self-discipline is internal resistance, the mental pushback that arises when attempting difficult or uncomfortable tasks. This resistance often manifests as procrastination, excuses, or avoidance, keeping individuals stuck in inaction. However, resistance is not a signal to stop. It is a sign that something important is happening. To overcome resistance, 1. Acknowledge it, but do not obey it. Recognize that discomfort is temporary. The mind resists change because it seeks comfort, but growth requires stepping beyond it. 2. Use the 5-second rule. Count down from 5 and take immediate action before resistance has time to take control. This disrupts hesitation and initiates momentum. 3. Break tasks into micro-actions. Overwhelming tasks lead to avoidance. By breaking them into tiny, manageable steps, resistance is reduced, making progress easier. 4. Create accountability. Public commitment, coaching, or partnership increases the likelihood of following through, as external expectations add an extra layer of responsibility. Resistance is a natural part of growth. Those who push through it consistently build resilience, making future discipline easier. Self-discipline and identity. Becoming the person who always follows through. The strongest form of discipline comes not from forcing action, but from becoming the kind of person who naturally follows through. Identity is the foundation of long-term change. A person who identifies as disciplined will act accordingly, whereas one who sees themselves as lazy will constantly struggle. To shift identity, affirm the new identity daily. Repeat statements like, "I am a person who follows through," to reinforce the belief. Prove it with small wins. Every disciplined action, no matter how small, reinforces the identity of discipline. Eliminate the identity of failure. Avoid saying, "I'm bad at sticking to things," or "I always procrastinate." These statements strengthen negative self-perception. The key to lasting transformation is to embody self-discipline as a core part of identity. When discipline becomes a defining trait rather than a forced effort, actions naturally align with success. Self-discipline is not about punishment or deprivation. It is the ultimate form of self-empowerment. It grants control over time, energy, and future outcomes. It is the force that separates those who live reactively from those who design their lives with purpose. Those who master self-discipline create their destiny, ensuring that no external circumstance dictates their success. The path to unshakable self-discipline is built through intentional habits, delayed gratification, resistance to impulse, and the adoption of a strong identity. Every disciplined action is a vote for the future self, a step closer to the vision of greatness. True transformation comes when discipline is no longer an external effort, but an internal standard. When action becomes automatic and success inevitable, the question is not whether you have the potential for self-discipline. The question is whether you are willing to commit to becoming the person who embodies it. Every choice, every action, every moment is an opportunity to reinforce who you are. Choose wisely. Choose discipline. Choose mastery. Chapter 7. The Art of Mental Resilience, Strengthening the Mind for Unshakable Confidence. Resilience is the foundation of greatness. It is not intelligence, talent, or luck that determines success, but the ability to endure setbacks, rise from failures, and push forward when the world seems to be working against you. The mind, like a muscle, can either be fragile and easily broken or powerful and unyielding in the face of adversity. The difference lies in mental resilience, the ability to maintain strength, focus, and confidence regardless of external circumstances. Life will test everyone. Obstacles are inevitable. Disappointments will happen. But the way a person responds to challenges determines their destiny. Those who cultivate resilience do not see failure as the end, but as feedback, a lesson, and an opportunity for growth. They refuse to be defined by difficulties and instead use them as fuel to become stronger. Resilience is not a gift. It is a skill, one that can be developed through deliberate effort. The strongest minds are not those that avoid hardship, but those that thrive in the face of it. The mindset of resilient thinkers, reframing challenges as opportunities. The first step in developing resilience is shifting the way difficulties are perceived. Most people view challenges as threats, allowing stress, fear, and doubt to consume them. However, the most successful individuals see challenges as stepping stones, necessary tests that refine character and build strength. This shift in perspective changes everything. Psychologists call this concept cognitive reframing, the ability to alter the meaning of an experience by shifting one's mindset. A setback can either be seen as a failure or as an opportunity to learn. A rejection can either be internalized as personal inadequacy or as proof that a better opportunity awaits. The way the brain interprets adversity determines whether a person succumbs to it or overcomes it. To strengthen mental resilience, one must adopt the belief that everything in life happens for growth. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" This shift removes victim mentality and replaces it with power, allowing challenges to become catalysts for transformation rather than barriers to progress. Emotional endurance, mastering the ability to stay strong under pressure. One of the greatest obstacles to resilience is emotional instability. When setbacks occur, many people spiral into frustration, self-doubt, or fear. Emotions, if unchecked, can cloud judgment, weaken decision-making, and lead to self-sabotage. True mental resilience requires the ability to control emotions rather than be controlled by them. One of the most effective ways to build emotional endurance is self-regulation, the ability to remain calm and focused, even in high-stress situations. This is achieved through 1. Emotional awareness, recognizing when emotions are hijacking logical thinking. Instead of reacting impulsively, step back, breathe, and assess the situation objectively. 2. Detachment from external validation. Resilient individuals do not base their self-worth on external events. Success, failure, praise, or criticism do not define them. Their confidence comes from within. 3. Practicing delayed reactions. Before reacting to challenges or criticism, take a moment. This prevents emotional overreactions and allows for strategic thinking. By mastering emotional endurance, resilience becomes second nature. Instead of being overwhelmed by adversity, the resilient individual remains composed, clear-headed, and ready to adapt. The role of failure in building mental toughness. Failure is often misunderstood. Society conditions people to fear failure, to see it as an indication of incompetence or inadequacy. However, those who achieve greatness understand that failure is a necessary part of progress. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, and innovator has failed, often repeatedly, before reaching mastery. The difference is that they use failure as a teacher, not a deterrent. Resilient thinkers follow 3 key principles regarding failure. 1. Failure is feedback, not finality. It reveals weaknesses that need to be strengthened and strategies that need improvement. 2. The faster you fail, the faster you succeed. Those who embrace failure as part of the process reach success faster than those who fear it. 3. Every failure adds resilience. Each challenge overcome strengthens the mind, making future difficulties easier to handle. By embracing failure rather than avoiding it, one builds the mental toughness required for long-term success. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It is about developing the capacity to withstand it and emerge stronger. The power of adaptability, becoming unstoppable in a changing world. One of the most crucial aspects of resilience is adaptability, the ability to remain flexible and open-minded in the face of unexpected changes. Life is unpredictable. Plans will fail, circumstances will shift, and things will not always go as expected. The resilient individual does not resist change. They embrace it, adapt to it, and use it to their advantage. To become more adaptable, one must release rigid expectations. Many people suffer because they cling to how they expected things to be, instead of accepting how things are. Letting go of attachment to specific outcomes allows for a more fluid, resilient approach. Develop a solution-oriented mindset. Instead of focusing on problems, focus on solutions. Ask, what can I control? And take action based on that. Embrace lifelong learning. Adaptable people continuously evolve. They seek knowledge, explore new perspectives, and remain open to new opportunities. The more adaptable a person becomes, the less they fear uncertainty. Instead of resisting change, they thrive in it, knowing that every shift brings new opportunities for growth, resilience, and identity. Becoming the person who never breaks resilience is not just about actions. It is about identity. If a person sees themselves as weak, fragile, or incapable, they will act accordingly. However, if they identify as strong, unbreakable, and capable, their behavior will reflect that belief. The way a person defines themselves determines their level of resilience. To build an unshakable identity, adopt empowering self-talk. Replace thoughts of doubt with thoughts of strength. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," say, "I am built for this." Prove resilience with action. Small victories build confidence. Facing discomfort, pushing through adversity, and consistently showing up. Reinforce the belief in one's own strength. Surround yourself with resilience. The company one keeps influences their mindset. Being around resilient, strong-minded individuals elevates one's own resilience. Resilience is not just something one practices, it is something one becomes. By reinforcing an identity of strength and adaptability, mental toughness becomes a natural part of who a person is. Mental resilience is the ultimate weapon in a world of uncertainty. It allows individuals to navigate challenges without being defeated, to stand tall in the face of adversity, and to turn every setback into a stepping stone toward greater success. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It is about learning to thrive despite it. By reframing challenges as opportunities, mastering emotional endurance, embracing failure as feedback, adapting to change, and cultivating an identity of unbreakable strength, one develops the mental fortitude necessary to achieve any goal. The strongest minds are not those who never fall, but those who rise every single time they do. The world belongs to those who refuse to break. The question is not whether resilience can be developed. It can. The question is, are you willing to build the unshakable mind that leads to greatness? Chapter 8. The Power of Focus, Eliminating Distractions and Mastering Deep Work. Focus is the invisible force that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. It is not talent alone that propels individuals to greatness, nor is it merely ambition that fuels success. It is the ability to concentrate deeply, work with intensity, and sustain unwavering attention on a singular goal. In a world overwhelmed by distractions, where notifications demand constant attention, social media pulls minds in countless directions, and multitasking is glorified, the rarest and most valuable skill is deep focus. The human mind, when fully engaged in deep, uninterrupted work, can accomplish in mere hours what fragmented attention might take days to complete. However, achieving this level of mental disciplines is not an accident. It is the result of deliberate effort, conscious control over one's environment, and the cultivation of habits that reinforce a focused mindset. Distraction is not simply an annoyance. It is a silent thief of potential. Every time the mind is pulled away from its task, whether by a buzzing phone, an incoming email, or even an intrusive thought, it does not simply pick up where it left off. Studies reveal that when focus is broken, it takes an average of 23 minutes to regain the same depth of concentration. This means that those who allow their minds to be hijacked by constant interruptions are not just losing a few seconds. They are systematically sabotaging their ability to perform at their highest level. The modern world is not designed for deep work. It is designed for distraction, for consumption, rather than creation. To master focus, one must break free from the cycle of reactive attention, reclaim control over mental energy, and structure daily life around the principles of sustained concentration. The science of focus, how the brain directs attention. Understanding focus begins with understanding the brain's attention system. Neuroscientists have identified two primary modes of attention: reactive attention and deliberate focus. Reactive attention is the state in which most people operate, a mode in which external stimuli dictate where the mind goes. Every unexpected sound, notification, or sudden shift in the environment triggers an automatic response, pulling awareness away from the task at hand. This was once a survival mechanism, keeping early humans alert to dangers in their surroundings. However, in the modern world, This mechanism has been hijacked by technology, making it difficult to maintain sustained focus. Deliberate focus, on the other hand, is a state of conscious, controlled attention where the mind directs itself toward a single objective without being swayed by distractions. This is the state in which deep work happens, where individuals create their best ideas, solve complex problems, and produce work of extraordinary depth. However, achieving this level of concentration requires training. It is not something that comes naturally in a world filled with digital temptations and constant interruptions. The ability to resist distraction and enter deep work mode is what differentiates those who achieve greatness from those who struggle with mediocrity. Eliminating digital distractions. Reclaiming control over attention. One of the greatest enemies of focus is digital distraction. The devices designed to enhance productivity have, paradoxically, become the primary culprits of reduced attention spans. Smartphones, social media platforms, and endless notifications fragment focus, conditioning the brain to seek constant stimulation rather than sustained engagement in meaningful work. Each time a person checks their phone out of habit, they reinforce the dopamine-driven cycle of distraction, making it increasingly difficult to engage in deep thinking. The modern individual is not simply distracted, they are addicted to distraction. Reclaiming focus requires a deliberate and disciplined approach to digital consumption. This begins with eliminating non-essential notifications, turning off the constant stream of interruptions that demand immediate attention but offer little long-term value. Social media, while entertaining, is one of the most powerful sources of distraction, subtly rewiring the brain for short-term gratification rather than long-term productivity. Limiting social media usage, either through scheduled time blocks or complete disconnection during work sessions, can significantly enhance focus. Additionally, creating a designated focus zone by putting the phone on silent, closing unnecessary tabs, and ensuring that the work environment is free from interruptions allows the brain to sustain deep concentration for extended periods. The deep work method. Achieving peak productivity. Deep work is the holy grail of focus, the state in which an individual becomes fully immersed in a task, producing results that are not only efficient, but exceptional. However, entering deep work mode is not automatic. It requires intentional effort and structured routines. The first step is scheduling deep work sessions, blocking out specific hours dedicated solely to focused, uninterrupted work. Treating these sessions as sacred, free from external demands, ensures that the brain is given the opportunity to reach its highest level of cognitive performance. Creating a pre-work ritual can also signal the mind that it is time to focus. This could be as simple as taking deep breaths, stretching, or listening to calming instrumental music before beginning work. Just as athletes warm up before intense physical exertion, the brain benefits from a mental transition that prepares it for deep focus. Additionally, working in 90-minute cycles, followed by short breaks, aligns with the brain's natural attention span, maximizing efficiency while preventing burnout. The key to deep work is not just intensity, it is sustained intensity, ensuring that focus remains sharp over long periods without mental exhaustion. The myth of multitasking. Why single tasking is the key to mastery. Many believe that multitasking enhances efficiency, but research proves the opposite. It destroys focus, increases errors, and weakens cognitive performance. The brain is not designed to handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. Instead, it rapidly switches between them, leading to fragmented attention and reduced quality of work. Those who attempt to juggle several tasks at once may feel productive, but in reality, they are diluting their efforts and performing each task at a suboptimal level. To achieve true efficiency, one must embrace single tasking, giving full attention to one task at a time before moving on to the next. This approach not only increases productivity, but also enhances the quality of work, allowing for deeper engagement and better results. Organizing tasks into focused work sessions, grouping similar activities together, and eliminating unnecessary task switching are fundamental strategies for harnessing the power of single tasking. Developing a focused identity, becoming the person who commands attention. Focus is not just a skill, it is an identity. Those who see themselves as easily distracted will continue to be easily distracted, reinforcing their own limitations through their beliefs. However, those who actively cultivate the mindset of unwavering focus and discipline will find themselves naturally gravitating toward deep work. This shift in identity begins with self-perception, replacing thoughts of distraction with thoughts of concentration, seeing oneself as someone who works with intensity and purpose. Surrounding oneself with focused individuals also reinforces this identity. Just as distraction is contagious, so is focus. By making focus a core part of one's identity through daily practice, structured habits, and a commitment to deep work, distractions lose their power. The world will always be full of noise, but those who master focus rise above it, carving their path toward greatness with precision, clarity, and unbreakable concentration. In a world that constantly fights for attention, focus is the greatest competitive advantage. Those who can control their minds, directed their energy toward meaningful work, and sustain deep concentration will achieve levels of success that others can only dream of. The path to focus is not easy. It requires discipline, intention, and the willingness to resist distraction. But the rewards are immense: greater productivity, deeper creativity, and the ability to accomplish extraordinary feats. The question is not whether you can develop focus. You can. The question is, are you willing to train your mind to achieve it? Master focus, and you will master your future. Chapter 9. The Art of Resilience, Cultivating Mental Toughness in the Face of Adversity. Resilience is the invisible force that separates those who crumble under pressure from those who rise stronger after every challenge. It is not merely the ability to endure hardship, but the capacity to adapt, recover, and transform difficulties into stepping stones for growth. Every journey toward success is riddled with setbacks, failures, and unexpected obstacles. The difference between those who succeed and those who fall short is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the unwavering ability to persist despite adversity, to push forward when the odds seem insurmountable, and to cultivate a mindset that sees every hardship as an opportunity for self-mastery. Many people believe that resilience is an inborn trait, something that a person either possesses or lacks. However, this belief is a myth. Resilience is not a fixed characteristic. It is a skill, one that can be trained, strengthened, and mastered over time. It is the ability to stand firm in the face of failure, to maintain unwavering belief in oneself despite external circumstances, and to harness the power of adversity to fuel growth rather than defeat. Those who develop resilience do not merely survive challenges, they thrive because of them. They understand that hardship is an inevitable part of the journey, and instead of being broken by it, they use it to sharpen their character, refine their mindset, and build an unshakable foundation for success. Understanding the psychology of resilience. How the mind adapts to hardship. To develop resilience, one must first understand the psychological mechanisms that govern human response to adversity. When faced with challenges, the mind operates in one of two primary modes: the fixed mindset or the growth mindset. Those with a fixed mindset perceive difficulties as personal failures, believing that setbacks are a reflection of their inherent limitations. They internalize adversity as a sign that they are not good enough, intelligent enough, or capable enough to succeed, which leads them to give up prematurely. In contrast, those with a growth mindset view challenges as opportunities to learn, improve, and evolve. They do not see failure as a defining moment, but as a stepping stone toward mastery. They understand that resilience is not about avoiding failure. It is about learning how to recover from it quickly, using each setback as fuel for greater determination and deeper self-awareness. By embracing the growth mindset, one rewires the brain to see adversity not as an enemy, but as a teacher, one that provides valuable lessons that cannot be learned in times of ease and comfort. Neuroscientists have discovered that the brain is highly adaptable, capable of rewiring itself in response to experiences and challenges. This concept, known as neuroplasticity, explains why resilience is not an inborn trait, but a skill that can be strengthened through deliberate effort. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance training, mental toughness is developed by facing and overcoming difficulties. The more one exposes themselves to adversity and trains their mind to navigate hardship with strength and clarity, the more resilient they become. Building mental toughness, strengthening the mind against stress and setbacks. Mental toughness is the foundation of resilience. It is the ability to remain calm, focused, and determined, even when faced with overwhelming pressure. Those who possess mental toughness do not allow external circumstances to dictate their internal state. Instead, they maintain control over their emotions, thoughts, and actions, ensuring that they remain steadfast in their pursuit of success. Developing mental toughness begins with emotional regulation, the ability to control one's reactions to stress, fear, and uncertainty. Many people allow negative emotions to consume them, reacting impulsively to hardship rather than responding with clarity and intention. However, true resilience comes from mastering the art of emotional discipline, learning how to acknowledge negative feelings without being controlled by them. One of the most effective ways to strengthen emotional regulation is through mindfulness and self-awareness. By practicing mindfulness, whether through meditation, journaling, or self-reflection, one develops the ability to observe thoughts and emotions objectively, rather than being consumed by them. This creates a sense of inner stability, ensuring that external challenges do not dictate internal well-being. Another critical component of mental toughness is cognitive reframing, the ability to shift perspective in the face of adversity. Instead of seeing difficulties as insurmountable obstacles, resilient individuals train their minds to view challenges as opportunities for growth. This mental shift is not about ignoring hardships, but about choosing a perspective that empowers rather than weakens. For example, instead of thinking, "I failed," which means I am not good enough, a resilient individual would reframe the experience as, "I failed," which means I have the opportunity to learn, adjust, and come back stronger. This seemingly small shift in thinking has profound effects on one's ability to persist through difficulties and emerge victorious. The role of grit, perseverance in the face of long-term challenges. While resilience is about recovering from setbacks, grit is about sustained effort despite prolonged challenges. Defined by psychologist Angela Duckworth as the combination of passion and perseverance, grit is what allows individuals to stay committed to their goals despite obstacles, failures, and slow progress. Those with grit do not rely on fleeting motivation. They are driven by a deep, unwavering commitment to their vision. Developing grit requires clarity of purpose, a deep understanding of why one is pursuing a particular goal. Without a strong why, it becomes easy to give up when faced with challenges. However, those who are deeply connected to their purpose remain steadfast, even when motivation fades. Additionally, grit is built through consistent effort over time. Many people expect quick results and become discouraged when progress is slow. But those who develop grit understand that mastery is a long-term process. They embrace the idea that persistence, rather than talent, is the true determinant of success. Another key element of grit is deliberate practice, the discipline to continuously refine skills, learn from mistakes, and push beyond comfort zones. Those who possess grit do not settle for mediocrity. They consistently seek improvement, knowing that small daily efforts compound into extraordinary achievements over time. Overcoming fear and doubt, breaking through mental barriers. One of the greatest obstacles to resilience is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. Many people allow fear to paralyze them, preventing them from taking action or pursuing their goals. However, resilient individuals understand that fear is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to move forward despite discomfort. Overcoming fear requires exposure and repetition. The more one confronts their fears, the less power those fears hold. Instead of avoiding difficult situations, resilient individuals deliberately seek them out, understanding that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Additionally, building self-trust is crucial for overcoming doubt. When one consistently follows through on commitments, faces challenges head-on, and proves to themselves that they are capable of overcoming adversity, their confidence grows. Over time, this self-trust becomes an unshakable foundation, ensuring that fear and doubt no longer dictate actions. Resilience is not just a trait, it is a way of life. It is the decision to rise every time one falls, to push forward despite obstacles, and to view challenges not as setbacks, but as stepping stones to greatness. Those who cultivate resilience understand that hardship is not a sign of failure. It is an essential part of growth. By developing mental toughness, embracing grit, overcoming fear, and consistently reframing challenges as opportunities, one builds an unbreakable mindset, one that ensures success in any endeavor. The journey will not always be easy, but resilience ensures that no challenge is ever too great to overcome. The only question that remains is, will you choose to rise? Chapter 10. The Power of Self-Discipline, Mastering the Art of Consistency and Control. Self-discipline is the invisible bridge between ambition and achievement. It is not raw talent, external circumstances, or fleeting bursts of motivation that determine success, but rather the ability to control impulses, remain consistent, and stay committed to a goal despite distractions and obstacles. In a world where instant gratification is glorified, self-discipline is a rare but transformative skill, one that separates those who accomplish their dreams from those who merely wish for them. It is the quiet force behind every great achievement, the foundation upon which lasting success is built. Without self-discipline, even the most brilliant ideas and well-laid plans amount to nothing. With it, even the most challenging goals become inevitable. Many people mistakenly believe that self-discipline is about deprivation, about denying oneself pleasure, or forcing rigid restrictions onto daily life. However, true self-discipline is not about punishment. It is about freedom. It is the freedom to control one's own actions rather than being controlled by impulses. It is the ability to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. It is what allows individuals to take consistent, deliberate steps toward their goals, even when motivation fades and external pressures mount. At its core, self-discipline is the ability to do what must be done, even when one does not feel like doing it. The science behind self-discipline, willpower, and habit formation. To understand self-discipline, one must first understand willpower, the psychological force that enables individuals to resist temptation, delay gratification, and stay focused on long-term goals. Willpower is often thought of as a finite resource, one that depletes throughout the day as decisions are made and impulses are resisted. This is why individuals often find it easier to make disciplined choices in the morning, but struggle as the day progresses. However, recent research suggests that willpower can be strengthened, like a muscle, through consistent training and strategic habits. One of the most effective ways to conserve willpower is by reducing decision fatigue. Every decision, whether big or small, consumes mental energy, which is why successful individuals streamline their daily routines to eliminate unnecessary choices. Steve Jobs, for example, wore the same style of clothing every day to minimize trivial decisions, allowing him to focus his mental energy on more important matters. Similarly, structuring daily routines around consistent habits, such as waking up at the same time, following a set workout regimen, or planning meals in advance, reduces cognitive load and makes self-discipline automatic rather than effortful. Another critical component of self-discipline is habit formation. While willpower can fluctuate, habits are automatic. They require little conscious effort once ingrained. This is why the most disciplined individuals rely on systems rather than motivation. They do not wake up every morning debating whether to go to the gym. They simply follow a routine that has become second nature. Studies show that it takes an average of 66 days to solidify a habit, meaning that the key to long-term self-discipline is not extraordinary willpower, but consistent repetition. Overcoming temptation, mastering the art of self-control. The greatest enemy of self-discipline is temptation, the constant pull toward comfort, distraction, and instant gratification. Whether it is the temptation to procrastinate, indulge in unhealthy habits, or abandon commitments in favor of easier alternatives, every individual faces the daily challenge of choosing between what is easy and immediate and what is difficult but worthwhile. One of the most powerful strategies for resisting temptation is environmental design, structuring one's surroundings in a way that reduces exposure to distractions and reinforces disciplined behavior. For example, individuals who struggle with unhealthy eating can remove junk food from their homes, making it easier to choose nutritious options. Those who want to read more can place books in visible, accessible locations while keeping their phones in another room to minimize distractions. The key is to eliminate friction for positive behaviors while increasing friction for negative ones. Another effective method for strengthening self-control is the 10-minute rule, a psychological technique that delays gratification without outright denial. Instead of giving in to an impulse immediately, one commits to waiting 10 minutes before acting. This short delay creates a mental buffer, allowing emotions to settle and rational thinking to take over. More often than not, the desire to indulge in an impulsive action fades once the initial urge passes. This technique is particularly effective for overcoming procrastination, emotional eating, and other self-sabotaging behaviors. The role of identity, becoming a disciplined person. Self-discipline is not just about behavior, it is about identity. The most disciplined individuals do not merely act with discipline, they see themselves as disciplined people. This shift in identity is crucial because human behavior is deeply influenced by self-perception. Someone who sees themselves as a lazy person will continue to reinforce that identity through their actions, just as someone who sees themselves as highly disciplined will naturally make choices that align with that belief. To cultivate the identity of a disciplined person, one must engage in identity-based habit formation. Instead of focusing on external goals, such as losing weight, building a business, or mastering a skill, one should focus on becoming the type of person who achieves those goals. For example, rather than setting a goal to run a marathon, one should aim to become the kind of person who never skips a workout. Every time a disciplined action is taken, whether it is waking up early, completing a difficult task, or resisting temptation, it reinforces this identity, making self-discipline effortless rather than forced. The myth of motivation. Why discipline is more powerful. Many people believe that success is driven by motivation, but the truth is that motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes in unpredictable waves. Those who depend on motivation to take action will find themselves trapped in an endless cycle of inconsistency, waiting for the right moment to feel inspired before making progress. The most successful individuals understand that discipline is greater than motivation. They do not wait until they feel like taking action. They take action regardless of how they feel. One of the most effective ways to eliminate reliance on motivation is the no negotiation rule, a mental framework in which certain behaviors are treated as non-negotiable. For example, if an individual commits to exercising every morning, they do not wake up and debate whether they feel like working out. They simply do it because it is part of their identity. This removes the emotional decision-making process and ensures consistency. Sustaining long-term discipline, the art of self-compassion. While self-discipline is essential for success, it must be balanced with self-compassion. Many people fall into the trap of perfectionism, believing that any deviation from their disciplined routine is a failure. However, true self-discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent over the long term. Even the most disciplined individuals have moments of weakness, but what sets them apart is their ability to recover quickly. The key to sustaining self-discipline is forgiveness and resilience. Instead of falling into the all-or-nothing mindset, where one slip-up leads to total abandonment of a goal, disciplined individuals accept mistakes as part of the process and immediately get back on track. A single missed workout does not ruin a fitness journey. What matters is getting back to the routine the next day. Self-discipline is not a punishment. It is a path to freedom, self-mastery, and extraordinary achievement. Those who cultivate it gain control over their lives, ensuring that they are driven by purpose rather than impulses. The ability to act with discipline, regardless of external circumstances or fleeting emotions, is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. The question is not whether one can become disciplined. It is whether one is willing to commit to the process. Those who do will unlock their highest potential, mastering not only their goals, but also their destiny. Will you take control, or will you allow distractions, excuses, and fleeting comfort to dictate your future? The choice is yours. Chapter 11. The Unshakable Power of Focus. Mastering the art of deep work and eliminating distractions. Focus is the silent architect of achievement. It is the ability to channel mental energy toward a singular goal while blocking out distractions that seek to derail progress. In an age of constant notifications, endless streams of information, and ever-present digital temptations, focus has become a rare but invaluable asset. It is not intelligence, talent, or luck that determines success. It is the ability to direct one's mind toward meaningful work without succumbing to the noise of the world. Those who master focus gain an unfair advantage, unlocking levels of productivity, creativity, and performance that others struggle to achieve. However, focus is not an inborn trait. It is a skill that must be cultivated. The mind is like a lens. When diffused, it is weak and ineffective. But when concentrated, it has the power to cut through obstacles like a laser. Developing this power requires intentional effort, disciplined habits, and a relentless commitment to eliminating distractions. Those who fail to master focus become slaves to external stimuli, constantly pulled in different directions by emails, social media, and fleeting impulses. But those who harness the ability to focus become architects of their own success, shaping their reality with precision, clarity, and purpose. The science of focus, understanding attention and mental energy. Focus is not simply the ability to concentrate. It is the ability to sustain deep, undistracted attention on a task for an extended period. Neuroscientists have discovered that focus is governed by two primary systems in the brain, the executive control network and the default mode network. The executive control network is responsible for goal-oriented thinking, problem-solving, and deep work, while the default mode network is activated during mind-wandering and distraction. In today's fast-paced world, most people operate in a state of constant cognitive switching, jumping from task to task, checking emails, scrolling through social media, and responding to endless notifications. This fragmented mode of thinking weakens the brain's ability to enter deep focus, making it difficult to produce high-quality work. Research shows that every time an individual shifts attention from one task to another, there is a cognitive switching cost, a brief but significant drop in mental efficiency. It can take up to 25 minutes to regain full concentration after an interruption. This means that those who allow constant distractions are not just losing seconds, they are losing hours of deep productivity every day. The key to mastering focus lies in rewiring the brain to resist distractions and sustain deep attention. This process is not about forcing oneself to concentrate through sheer willpower, but about training the mind to remain in a state of deep work for extended periods. Like a muscle, focus strengthens with use and weakens with neglect. The more one engages in uninterrupted high-focus work, the easier it becomes to sustain concentration. Eliminating digital distractions, creating a fortress for focus. One of the greatest threats to focus is digital distraction. The modern world is designed to hijack attention, with apps, social media platforms, and notifications engineered to keep individuals engaged for as long as possible. Every beep, vibration, and alert competes for mental bandwidth, pulling the mind away from meaningful work and into a cycle of endless scrolling and reactive thinking. To master focus, one must intentionally design their environment to minimize distractions. This begins with decluttering the digital workspace, turning off non-essential notifications, using website blockers to prevent access to distracting sites, and setting specific times for checking emails and messages, rather than reacting impulsively throughout the day. Many high achievers adopt the practice of batching communication, dedicating 1 or 2 specific time blocks per day to handle emails and messages, rather than allowing constant interruptions. Another powerful technique is phone fasting, placing the phone in another room, or using apps that limit screen time to break the habit of compulsive checking. Studies show that even the mere presence of a phone, even if it is turned off, reduces cognitive performance and focus. By removing the temptation entirely, one frees up mental energy for deep, uninterrupted work. The power of deep work, cultivating the ability to work without distraction. The highest achievers in the world share one common trait. They practice deep work, the ability to engage in highly focused, cognitively demanding tasks for extended periods without distraction. This concept, popularized by Professor Cal Newport, is the key to mastering complex skills, producing high-quality work, and achieving extraordinary results. Deep work is the opposite of shallow work, which consists of low-effort, low-value tasks, such as responding to emails, attending unnecessary meetings, and engaging in passive consumption. While shallow work may feel productive, it rarely leads to meaningful progress. Deep work, on the other hand, requires full immersion, allowing the brain to operate at its peak potential. To cultivate deep work, one must establish structured focus sessions, blocks of time dedicated exclusively to high-value work. This requires eliminating all potential distractions, setting clear goals for the session, and committing to full immersion in the task. Many top performers use the Pomodoro technique, working in intense 90-minute sprints followed by short breaks to maximize cognitive efficiency. Another essential aspect of deep work is ritualizing focus, creating a structured routine that signals to the brain that it is time to enter a state of intense concentration. This could involve setting up a dedicated workspace, playing specific background music, or following a pre-work ritual such as meditation or journaling. By training the brain to associate certain actions with focus, one can enter deep work states more quickly and sustain them for longer durations. Building mental endurance, strengthening the attention muscle. Focus is not just about eliminating distractions. It is about training the brain to sustain attention for longer periods. Just as physical endurance is built through progressive training, mental endurance is strengthened through consistent effort. One of the most effective ways to build focus is through concentration exercises, Techniques such as meditation, where one trains the mind to focus on a single point, such as the breath, have been shown to significantly improve attention span and cognitive performance. Reading dense, challenging material without distraction is another powerful exercise that enhances the brain's ability to sustain focus. Another critical factor in mental endurance is energy management. The brain operates best when it is well rested, properly nourished, and free from excessive stress. Regular exercise, high-quality sleep, and a nutrient-dense diet all play crucial roles in sustaining peak cognitive function. Those who prioritize physical and mental well-being naturally find it easier to maintain focus, while those who neglect these factors struggle with mental fatigue and lack of clarity. The role of purpose, focus as a byproduct of deep commitment. Perhaps the most overlooked element of focus is purpose. The mind naturally gravitates toward what it finds meaningful. When one is deeply connected to their goals, focus becomes effortless rather than forced. Those who struggle with focus often do so not because they lack discipline, but because they lack clarity on what truly matters to them. To develop unwavering focus, one must have a compelling reason to stay engaged. This requires defining clear, meaningful goals that inspire commitment. When the mind is fixated on a powerful vision, distractions lose their appeal, and deep work becomes a natural state rather than a struggle. Focus is the currency of success in the modern world. Those who master it gain the ability to produce exceptional work, achieve ambitious goals, and rise above the distractions that keep others stagnant. However, focus is not a passive trait. It is an active skill that must be developed, trained, and protected. By eliminating digital distractions, cultivating deep work habits, building mental endurance, and aligning with a powerful purpose, one gains the ability to direct their mind with unshakable clarity. The choice is simple: master focus or be mastered by distraction. Those who take control of their attention take control of their destiny. Will you be among them? Chapter 12. The Power of Resilience, Thriving in the Face of Adversity. Life is an unpredictable journey, filled with moments of triumph and hardship, success and failure, clarity and uncertainty. What separates those who rise from setbacks and those who remain stuck in despair is a single defining trait: resilience. Resilience is the ability to endure, adapt, and thrive in the face of adversity. It is not about avoiding challenges, but about developing the inner strength to confront them head-on. Every great achiever, from world-class athletes to groundbreaking entrepreneurs, has encountered moments of failure, rejection, and self-doubt. Yet, their ability to persist, to extract lessons from difficulties, and to emerge stronger defines their ultimate success. Resilience is not an inherent gift bestowed upon the fortunate few. It is a skill that can be cultivated. It is forged through hardship, strengthened through perseverance, and refined through a relentless commitment to growth. Those who develop resilience become unbreakable, able to navigate setbacks without losing sight of their goals. They see obstacles not as insurmountable roadblocks, but as stepping stones toward greater strength and wisdom. In contrast, those who lack resilience are easily discouraged, allowing temporary failures to define them permanently. The key to lasting success is not avoiding hardship. It is learning how to transform pain into power. The science of resilience, understanding the psychology of perseverance. Resilience is deeply rooted in psychology. Studies have shown that individuals who exhibit high levels of resilience tend to have an optimistic mindset, strong emotional regulation, and a sense of purpose that drives them forward. At its core, resilience is about how one perceives and responds to adversity. Some people see failure as evidence of personal inadequacy, while others view it as an opportunity for growth. This difference in perception is what determines whether one crumbles under pressure or rises stronger than before. One of the most important psychological factors in resilience is the growth mindset. a belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and persistence. Those with a fixed mindset tend to see failure as a reflection of their limitations, while those with a growth mindset view challenges as opportunities to expand their abilities. Neuroscientific research has shown that the brain is highly adaptable, capable of forming new neural connections through learning and experience. This means that failure is never final. Every setback has the potential to be a powerful lesson if approached with the right mindset. Another critical element of resilience is emotional regulation, the ability to manage stress, frustration, and disappointment in a healthy way. Resilient individuals do not suppress their emotions, but they also do not allow emotions to dictate their actions. Instead, they develop strategies to process adversity constructively, whether through mindfulness, reframing perspectives, or seeking support. Overcoming failure, the art of bouncing back stronger. Failure is an inevitable part of any meaningful pursuit. No one achieves greatness without encountering moments of defeat. However, failure itself is not what determines success. It is the response to failure that matters most. Some people allow setbacks to shatter their confidence, leading to self-doubt and withdrawal. Others use failure as fuel, analyzing what went wrong, refining their approach, and coming back stronger. One of the most powerful ways to reframe failure is to see it as feedback, not as a final verdict. Every mistake, rejection, or setback provides valuable information about what needs to be adjusted. Thomas Edison, after thousands of failed attempts at inventing the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset shift, from seeing failure as an endpoint to viewing it as part of the learning process, allows resilience to flourish. Another key strategy for overcoming failure is developing self-compassion. Many people are their own harshest critics, berating themselves for mistakes and allowing negative self-talk to erode their confidence. However, research has shown that self-compassion, treating oneself with the same kindness and understanding as one would a friend, significantly boosts resilience. Instead of dwelling on failures with shame, resilient individuals acknowledge their struggles, learn from them, and move forward with self-acceptance. The role of grit, persistence in the face of obstacles. Resilience is closely linked to grit, a term popularized by psychologist Angela Duckworth. Grit is the ability to sustain long-term effort and passion toward a goal, even when progress is slow and challenges arise. While talent and intelligence play a role in success, research has shown that grit is a far more reliable predictor of achievement. Those who succeed are not necessarily the most naturally gifted, but the ones who persist when others give up. Gritty individuals have an unstoppable commitment to their vision. They do not seek instant gratification, but embrace the process, knowing that mastery and success take time. They understand that progress is not always linear, that there will be highs and lows, moments of doubt and frustration, but quitting is never an option. This relentless persistence is what allows them to break through plateaus and achieve remarkable results. Developing grit requires embracing discomfort and pushing through resistance. It means showing up consistently, even when motivation fades. It means being willing to fail repeatedly and still keep going. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who fall short is often just the willingness to endure discomfort longer than others. Cultivating mental toughness, strengthening the mind to withstand pressure. Mental toughness is the ability to stay strong, focused, and determined in high-pressure situations. It is what allows elite athletes to perform under stress, entrepreneurs to navigate uncertainty, and leaders to remain calm in crisis. While some people appear naturally mentally tough, this quality can be intentionally developed through training and habit. One of the most effective ways to build mental toughness is through controlled adversity. deliberately engaging in challenges that push mental and physical limits. This could involve endurance training, cold exposure, fasting, or tackling difficult intellectual tasks. The more one practices enduring discomfort, the more the brain rewires itself to tolerate stress without breaking. Another key to mental toughness is learning to embrace uncertainty. Many people fear the unknown and allow uncertainty to create anxiety and hesitation. However, resilient individuals train themselves to become comfortable with discomfort. They recognize that uncertainty is an inevitable part of growth, and that true confidence is built not from avoiding risk, but from learning to thrive in unpredictable environments. The power of purpose: how meaning fuels resilience. Perhaps the greatest secret to resilience is having a deep sense of purpose. When people are connected to a powerful why, they can endure far more than they ever thought possible. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that those who survived the concentration camps were often the ones who held on to a strong sense of purpose, a belief that their suffering had meaning, or that they had something important to live for. Purpose creates resilience because it provides a reason to keep going when times get tough. It shifts focus away from temporary struggles and toward a greater vision. Whether that purpose is to create something meaningful, support loved ones, or contribute to a larger cause, having a clear why makes it easier to push through obstacles. To cultivate resilience, one must first identify what truly matters. What is worth enduring hardship for? What long-term goal is important enough to push through discomfort? By anchoring resilience in purpose, challenges become less intimidating, and setbacks become stepping stones rather than roadblocks. Resilience is the foundation of greatness. It is what allows people to transform failure into growth, endure hardship without losing hope, and persist in the face of overwhelming odds. It is not about avoiding difficulties, but about becoming strong enough to face them head-on and emerge stronger. The choice is clear: succumb to adversity or use it as fuel for growth. Those who cultivate resilience develop an unbreakable spirit, one that can withstand life's storms without losing sight of the destination. Will you let challenges define you, or will you rise above them? The answer lies in your resilience. Chapter 13, The Mastery of Self-Discipline, Unlocking the Power of Consistent Action. Self-discipline is the bridge between intention and execution, the silent force that turns dreams into reality. It is not motivation, which comes and goes with emotion, nor is it inspiration, which flickers momentarily before fading. It is the unwavering ability to take action, even when enthusiasm wanes, even when obstacles arise, even when comfort tempts one to remain stagnant. Those who master self-discipline master themselves, and those who master themselves master the world. Every extraordinary achievement in history, whether in science, art, business, or athletics, has been built upon the foundation of self-discipline. The world's greatest minds did not rely on fleeting motivation. They committed to deliberate, repeated effort, day after day, year after year. The disciplined individual does not wait to feel like it before acting. They act regardless of feeling. They show up to train when tired, to study when uninspired, and to work when others would rather procrastinate. It is this consistency that separates the exceptional from the average, the accomplished from the unfulfilled. Self-discipline is not a personality trait, but a skill that can be cultivated. It is forged through habit, strengthened through repetition, and reinforced through the mastery of impulse. It is not about suffering or deprivation, but about prioritizing long-term fulfillment over momentary pleasure. Those who develop self-discipline gain an unbreakable edge, achieving their goals not through bursts of effort, but through sustained commitment. The psychology of self-discipline, understanding willpower and habit formation. At its core, Self-discipline is a battle between the impulsive mind and the rational mind. The impulsive mind craves instant gratification, pleasure, comfort, avoidance of difficulty. It wants to hit snooze instead of wake up early, to scroll through social media instead of working, to indulge in junk food instead of choosing health. The rational mind, on the other hand, understands the importance of delayed gratification. It recognizes that true success comes not from giving in to impulse, but from making decisions aligned with long-term goals. Willpower is a finite resource, much like a muscle. It depletes with excessive use, but strengthens with training. Studies have shown that individuals who exert self-control early in the day find it harder to resist temptation later on. This is why relying on sheer willpower alone is ineffective. Instead, discipline must be automated through habit formation. When actions become habitual, they require less mental effort, allowing one to remain consistent without constant internal struggle. Building self-discipline starts with small wins. When one proves to themselves that they can follow through on commitments, whether waking up early, sticking to a workout routine, or reading every day, confidence grows. Over time, these small victories compound, turning self-discipline into an intrinsic part of one's identity. The power of routine, creating systems for unshakable discipline. The most disciplined individuals do not rely on motivation, they rely on systems. They design their environment, structure their schedules, and build habits that remove the need for constant decision-making. Instead of relying on willpower to resist distractions, they eliminate distractions entirely. Instead of relying on motivation to work out, they establish a daily fitness routine that becomes as natural as brushing their teeth. One of the most effective strategies for building self-discipline is habit stacking, linking a new habit to an existing one. For example, if one wants to develop the habit of journaling, they can attach it to their morning coffee ritual. If one wants to start meditating, they can do it immediately after brushing their teeth. By anchoring new habits to existing routines, they become automatic, reducing resistance. Another powerful technique is the 2-minute rule. When starting a new habit, make it so easy that it takes less than 2 minutes to complete. Instead of setting an ambitious goal of reading for an hour, start with reading 1 page. Instead of planning a full workout, commit to doing 1 push-up. The key is to lower the barrier to action, making it easy to build consistency. Once the habit is established, intensity can be increased naturally. Eliminating temptation. How environment shapes discipline. Many people believe that self-discipline is about sheer willpower, but environment plays a far greater role than most realize. Studies have shown that individuals who appear to have strong self-control often simply have fewer temptations in their immediate surroundings. They don't rely on willpower to resist unhealthy food. They just don't keep it in their homes. They don't struggle to avoid distractions while working. They structure their environment to minimize interruptions. To cultivate self-discipline, one must optimize their surroundings to reduce friction. This could mean removing social media apps from the phone, setting up a dedicated workspace free from distractions, or preparing meals in advance to avoid impulsive eating. The fewer obstacles between oneself and disciplined action, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. Another critical aspect is accountability. When individuals make their goals public, commit to deadlines, or involve others in their progress, discipline becomes reinforced. A powerful technique is the accountability contract, writing down specific commitments with consequences for failure. This could involve financial penalties, public accountability, or having a mentor monitor progress. When there is a real cost to breaking discipline, adherence increases dramatically. The art of self-mastery, developing emotional discipline. True self-discipline goes beyond habits and actions. It extends into emotional mastery. Many people sabotage their own progress due to uncontrolled emotions, fear, self-doubt, frustration, or impulsive reactions. Mastering self-discipline requires learning to control emotions rather than being controlled by them. One of the most powerful techniques for emotional discipline is detachment, observing thoughts and emotions without being ruled by them. Instead of reacting impulsively to stress or discomfort, one learns to pause, assess, and respond rationally. Meditation, journaling, and mindfulness practices help develop this awareness, allowing individuals to navigate challenges without losing focus. Another key aspect is embracing discomfort. Growth comes from pushing beyond comfort zones, whether in fitness, career, or personal development. The disciplined individual learns to be comfortable with discomfort, understanding that struggle is a natural part of progress. By intentionally seeking challenges and enduring short-term difficulty, resilience and mental toughness are strengthened. Discipline as freedom. The paradox of structured living. Many view discipline as restrictive, believing that it limits freedom. However, the truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. Without discipline, one is enslaved by impulses, distractions, and external influences. With discipline, one gains control over their time, their choices, and their destiny. A disciplined life is not about deprivation. It is about intentionality. It is about choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification. It is about designing a life of meaning, where one's actions align with their aspirations. When discipline becomes ingrained, success is no longer a matter of chance. It becomes inevitable. Self-discipline is the foundation of all great achievements. It is what separates those who wish from those who do, those who dream from those who create. It is not an abstract concept. It is a daily practice, a commitment to consistency over comfort, progress over excuses, mastery over mediocrity. The world does not reward potential. It rewards action. Will you take control of your habits, your time, and your future? Or will you let impulses and distractions dictate your path? The choice is yours, but remember, those who master discipline master life. Chapter 14. The Power of Identity. Becoming the person you aspire to be. At the core of every action, every habit, and every achievement lies a fundamental truth. We act in alignment with who we believe we are. Identity is the silent force that shapes our behaviors, decisions, and ultimately, our destiny. It dictates whether we see ourselves as disciplined or lazy, successful or unworthy, capable or inadequate. Many people focus on changing their actions, yet lasting transformation does not begin with behavior. It begins with identity. When someone believes at their core that they are a certain kind of person, their actions naturally align with that belief. Identity is the foundation of all change. Think of someone who identifies as an athlete. They do not struggle to work out. Training is simply part of who they are. A writer does not force themselves to write. They see writing as an extension of their identity. A successful entrepreneur does not have to motivate themselves to take risks. They naturally do so because that is how they perceive themselves. In contrast, someone who believes they are bad with money will subconsciously make financial mistakes, and someone who sees themselves as a procrastinator will continually delay tasks. This is why simply setting goals or forcing habits often fails, because if identity does not change, behaviors eventually revert to match how one sees themselves. To create lasting change, we must transform our self-image. Shifting identity. How beliefs shape reality. Our identity is not fixed. It is a collection of beliefs formed over time, often shaped by past experiences, societal conditioning, and the narratives we tell ourselves. Many of these beliefs are limiting. We internalize failures as proof that we are not good enough. We adopt labels given to us by others: shy, impatient, undisciplined, and unknowingly live according to those labels. However, just as identity can be shaped by the past, it can also be consciously rewritten to create a new future. One of the most powerful ways to shift identity is through evidence-based change. Instead of merely saying, "I want to be disciplined," one must accumulate small victories that provide proof of this new identity. Every disciplined action, no matter how small, reinforces the belief, "I am disciplined." Every time a workout is completed, the identity of an athlete strengthens. Every time a book is read, the identity of a learner solidifies. Identity change is not a single event. It is built through repeated action. Another way to reshape identity is by changing the internal narrative. Many people unknowingly speak to themselves in limiting ways. "I always fail." "I'm just not a morning person." "I can't stick to habits." These statements reinforce the existing identity. Instead, one must replace these statements with empowering ones. "I am becoming someone who follows through." "I am building the discipline to wake up early." "I am committed to long-term success." Words create reality. The way we speak about ourselves directly influences our behavior. The role of environment: surrounding yourself with the right. Influence's identity is not only shaped by self-perception, but also by the environment we immerse ourselves in. We naturally mirror the behaviors of those around us, which is why surrounding oneself with people who embody the desired identity is crucial. If one wants to become fit, being around those who prioritize health makes discipline effortless. If one wants to be successful, immersing in an ambitious, growth-oriented environment fosters that mindset. Environment also extends to the information consumed. The books read, the content watched, and the conversations engaged in all reinforce identity. Consuming content that aligns with one's desired future strengthens belief. If one wants to be a leader, studying great leaders and internalizing their thought patterns accelerates the transformation. We are constantly programming our minds, consciously or unconsciously. The question is, what identity are we reinforcing? Identity and behavior: acting as if until it becomes reality. One of the fastest ways to solidify a new identity is through the act as if principle, behaving as if the new identity is already true. If someone wants to be confident, they must practice speaking and carrying themselves confidently, even before they feel it internally. If someone wants to be a high performer, they must approach their work with excellence, even before external success is evident. The mind does not differentiate between reality and deeply imagined experience. By acting as if, the subconscious mind begins to accept the new identity as fact. This is the principle behind visualization. Elite athletes, performers, and entrepreneurs use it to mentally embody success before it happens. When the mind repeatedly experiences an identity shift, the body follows. However, visualization alone is not enough. It must be coupled with aligned action. Identity is strengthened through doing, not just thinking. Breaking free from the past, letting go of old labels. Many people remain trapped by their past identities, believing that history defines the future. However, identity is fluid, not fixed. Just because someone has been inconsistent in the past does not mean they must remain so. Just because someone has failed before does not mean they are a failure. The past only has power if one continues to carry it into the present. To fully step into a new identity, one must release old labels. This requires forgiving past mistakes and recognizing that growth is possible at any moment. The question is not, who have I been? But, who am I becoming? Those who define themselves by past failures remain stuck in cycles of self-sabotage. Those who redefine themselves based on future vision step into transformation. A powerful exercise for identity shift is writing a new self-definition. This involves crafting a personal manifesto, stating clearly and boldly the person one is becoming. I am disciplined, focused, and driven. I follow through on my commitments and take action toward my goals. I am a leader, and I inspire others through my example. I am continuously learning and growing, pushing myself beyond limitations. I do not allow fear or doubt to hold me back. I am in control of my actions, my thoughts, and my future. By reading and internalizing this statement daily, identity begins to shift. Over time, belief turns into reality. The power of identity in success and fulfillment. Every lasting achievement is an identity-based achievement. People who build wealth are not just lucky. They have cultivated the identity of financial responsibility. Those who achieve peak physical fitness do not rely on motivation. They see themselves as the type of person who prioritizes health. The secret to success is not forcing behaviors. It is becoming the kind of person who naturally does those things. When identity aligns with goals, success is effortless. When identity contradicts goals, there is constant inner resistance. Someone who wants to be successful, but deep down sees themselves as unworthy, will subconsciously sabotage progress. Someone who tries to be disciplined, but identifies as a procrastinator, will always struggle with consistency. The key is not in trying harder, but in becoming the person for whom success is natural. Identity is the foundation of transformation. Every habit, every success, every breakthrough stems from how one sees themselves. The moment one decides to embody the identity of their highest self, everything changes. No longer is discipline a struggle. It becomes a natural extension of who they are. No longer is success an external pursuit. It becomes an internal certainty. The question is no longer, what do I need to do? The real question is, who do I need to become? Because when you step into your highest identity, success is not something you chase. It is something you attract. The future you desire is already waiting. The only thing left is to become the person who is ready for it. Chapter 15. The manifestation of your mindset, becoming the architect of your reality. At the culmination of this journey, we arrive at the profound realization that everything we achieve, everything we experience, and everything we become is a direct manifestation of our mindset. The external world is nothing more than a mirror reflecting our internal beliefs, habits, and self-concept. Those who master their mindset master their destiny. Those who fail to take control of their thoughts remain prisoners to circumstance. This is the ultimate truth that separates the empowered from the unfulfilled. We are the architects of our own reality. Throughout this book, we have explored the power of belief, the impact of identity, the discipline required for growth, and the resilience needed to overcome challenges. We have dissected the mechanisms of success, not as fleeting moments of luck, but as the inevitable result of deliberate thought and action. Now, as we stand at the threshold of transformation, the final piece remains. How do we ensure that our mindset continues to manifest the reality we desire? Not just once, but continuously, for a lifetime? The power of conscious creation. You are always manifesting. Most people go through life unaware that they are constantly manifesting their experiences. Every thought they dwell upon, every emotion they repeat, and every belief they reinforce contributes to the reality they experience. Yet, most people are unconscious creators. They allow fears, doubts, and societal programming to dictate their outcomes. They believe success is random, that happiness is circumstantial, that life happens to them rather than through them. But the truth is, every single one of us is a creator, whether we realize it or not. Our thoughts shape our emotions shape our actions, and our actions shape our results. If we think of ourselves as unworthy, we will subconsciously act in ways that confirm that belief. If we see opportunities as scarce, we will overlook abundance even when it is right in front of us. The key to conscious manifestation is simple yet profound. We must choose our thoughts and beliefs with intention, because what we focus on expands. This is not wishful thinking or empty affirmations. This is the fundamental principle behind neuroscience, psychology, and even quantum physics. Our thoughts influence our perception. Our perception influences our choices, and our choices determine our reality. When we take full responsibility for this power, we no longer see ourselves as victims of fate. Instead, we become deliberate creators, actively designing a life of meaning, success, and fulfillment. Reading about mindset, success, and manifestation is valuable, but knowledge alone is not enough. Many people consume endless self-development material, but never integrate it into their lives. The final step is not about learning more. It is about embodiment. To manifest the reality we desire, we must stop merely thinking about success and start living as if we have already become the person capable of achieving it. This means no longer waiting for external validation, no longer hesitating in doubt, no longer postponing action. It means waking up every day and choosing to act in alignment with the future self we are creating. Manifestation does not mean passively hoping for outcomes. It means aligning thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with our vision, consistently and unwaveringly. It means showing up as the version of ourselves who already has what we seek, making decisions as that person would, and trusting that reality will reshape itself accordingly. Because when we change, everything changes. The energy of success, living in abundance before it arrives. One of the most powerful mindset shifts we can make is moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Most people live in a state of, I will be happy when they have the money, when they find the right relationship, when they achieve their goals. But this way of thinking keeps success and happiness perpetually in the future, never in the present. True manifestation requires us to feel abundant before the external proof appears. We must act with confidence before we see results, feel gratitude before we receive, and trust in our vision even when reality has yet to reflect it. This is how all great creators, leaders, and innovators operate. They do not wait for success to believe in themselves. They believe in themselves first, and success follows. The most successful individuals in history did not manifest their achievements by waiting for proof. They created it. They carried themselves with certainty. They took bold action, and they remained unshakable in their vision, even when external reality did not yet confirm it. This is the energy of success, living as if the outcome is inevitable and acting accordingly. Overcoming the final barriers. Letting go of fear and doubt. Even with the strongest mindset, doubts and fears will still arise. The key is not to eliminate them, but to recognize them for what they are. Illusions designed to keep us in our comfort zone. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. These are merely the mind's attempt to avoid discomfort. But nothing extraordinary is created from comfort. The final step in manifestation is trusting the process, even when fear whispers otherwise. It is understanding that every challenge, every setback, every moment of uncertainty is part of the greater journey. The universe does not withhold success. It tests commitment. Will you persist when results do not come immediately? Will you continue when others doubt you? Will you trust in your vision, even when reality looks different? The answer to these questions determines success. Because the truth is, most people quit too soon. They stop believing right before the breakthrough. They let fear win, right when persistence was about to pay off. The rare few who refuse to give up, who continue taking action despite fear, they are the ones who manifest everything they desire. The legacy of a manifested mindset, leaving an impact beyond yourself. A life lived with a powerful mindset is not just about personal success. It is about the impact we leave behind. When we master our thoughts, actions, and beliefs, we do not only change our own lives, we inspire others to do the same. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and visionaries did not succeed for themselves alone. they became living proof of what is possible, paving the way for others to rise. When you become the embodiment of self-mastery, confidence, and resilience, you give others permission to do the same. Your energy influences those around you, whether in your family, your community, or even on a global scale. Your transformation is not just about you. It is about the ripple effect you create. Imagine a world where more people understood the power of their minds, where fear no longer controlled decisions, where success was a choice rather than a distant dream. This is the world we create when we commit to mindset mastery, not only for ourselves, but for future generations. You have the tools, the knowledge, and the understanding. Now the question remains, will you apply them? Will you take full responsibility for your mindset, your habits, and your life? Will you stop waiting and start living as the person you were meant to be? The future you desire is already within you. The success you seek is already in motion. The mindset you cultivate today will shape the life you experience tomorrow. There is no more waiting. You are the architect of your reality. Now go and build the life you were destined to live.